Hello everybody, welcome to my first Zero to Hero guide for Path of Exile. This one will be for a sort of tanky melee character, and the goal here is to just have as smooth as possible experience from league start until defeating the pinnacle bosses and the Ubers. So yeah, I'm especially looking for feedback from newer players. Haven't really created a guide geared towards newer people, so if you have any questions or if I missed anything, please leave a comment wherever you can. That would be greatly appreciated. Alright, so I'm going to try and be concise here. Hopefully you have Path of Building installed already. If not, I'll include a link in the description. Not going to go over how to install it. First we'll go over how to import a build into Path of Building. You'll press New, and then in the top left, after pressing New, Import Export Build, use the share link that's in the video description. It's going to look something like this. Down here you can paste it in the import field, and then you can click import. Might take a bit depending on the build. This one has a lot of different settings and stuff, profiles, so took a bit longer, but yeah, do that, and then you can just save it with a name, and then it's all for importing. Alright, next, I'm not going to go over in how to use POB, how to like create builds and stuff. I'm just going to go over on how to read and understand like a general POB guide. So for this one, this Zero to Hero guide, if you go to the top right, you can see loadouts, and another section I recommend looking at is the notes. A lot of builds won't have anything in here, but the really like in-depth guides usually put something in here. I have a bunch of stuff in here, and I also have a spreadsheet. I would recommend opening the spreadsheet alongside the build actually. I can show it real quick here. It has colors, and I have like trade links and stuff, and I'll be adding to this as people ask questions and all that. But I try to answer some like basic stuff in here. You can open it up alongside the POB to help with some of that stuff, or I guess you could just look at the notes section too, but I think it's formatting's a little better in the spreadsheet. But yeah, so we have different loadouts. Zero is the league start fresh character, and you have your class here, different classes, Marauder for this one, and Ascendancy doesn't matter yet, but it will. But yeah, so you can just pretty much path along. The goal here is to path to Resolute Technique and Blood Magic as soon as possible, and getting some decent filler nodes on the way. These two are for the stats early on. Stats are kind of a pain, so yeah, I'm not gonna go over the trees for all of these different loadouts, but yeah, that's the very first one that you can look at, and then after that there's the campaign tree, and this one just has a lot more nodes filled out. But yeah, so it has the loadouts all the way from 0 until most people won't do Giga. That's like after you've completed the game, you're just min-maxing. But end game, there's two different end game ones. These ones are very like uber viable, I would say. You can defeat every boss in the game pretty easily with these setups. So yeah, hopefully the progression is smooth from 0 all the way to the final loadouts. Yeah, we'll start back at 0. If you click tree, you can see the passive tree, which which I just showed. And then skills section. I tried to organize this instead of just slapping skills in here. You have your main skill, war cries, travel, reservation. I won't explain what each of these does in this video. But if you have any questions on that, post a comment and I will answer it in the spreadsheet. But yeah, so each different, when you switch your loadout, it's going to switch skills, tree, it switches everything to match that loadout. So you can switch them manually as well, just to take a peek. But make sure you have your loadout clicked, so it doesn't get too confusing and the stats won't get messed up. But yeah, sometimes also this main skill isn't showing your DPS ability, so you can just right click on the main skill and it'll bring it back over here. But yeah, I also have item sets for most of the loadouts. Here's the starting one. Like I said, I'm not going to go over each of the items. I'm just going over like the base on how to navigate through POP. But yeah, a lot of these items, they'll have like a price by them. This is just a real rough estimate. 1 chaos, 1C is 1 chaos. Then endgame stuff has like a divine. So yeah, some of them have prices, and then some of them will have like crafting steps. I don't really recommend doing the crafting unless you're like solo self-found. Usually you can buy something cheaper. But it does save some time, and if you're interested in learning about crafting, you can do these recipes I put on the items. I have them for a couple of the weapons and some of the boots. But yeah, so there's the items. Looked at skills, tree. Don't really, configs are really important, but again, I'm not going to go over this on how to like configure this stuff in this guide. I can do that in another video, but trying to keep this concise. I think that's about everything. Just let me pause this. Okay, yeah. So I did the general overview. I tried to be quick, but now I'll just I want to go over one more thing. This is supposed to be down here. So yeah, there's the most important thing about this 0 to hero is there's a bunch of different loadouts. 0 is the one you start at. Here's this stuff right here. It's in the POB notes section as well, but in orange on the spreadsheet is the order you're kind of looking to, or you should be following if you're league starting and then getting up to the end game bosses. So 0, campaign, both of these use blood magic, and then things start getting slightly more complicated here. Early mapping, you can stay blood magic, or you can swap to not using blood magic. I prefer the non-blood magic version, but you need mono leech of some sort, which can be annoying to get on league start. So don't make this swap until you have mana leech. I list a few ways to get it over here, and if you look at the POB, you can also see the different ways. But yeah, you can stay blood magic until I think the end game setup. Actually, I have to edit that sheet, but yeah, once you hit end game though, I don't have a POB for blood magic anymore. I swapped to the mana setup, and the reason for that is you can't. The auto casting war cries is kind of, I feel like it's kind of mandatory at game. It feels too awkward without that. Having to sit there and cast all the war cries for the uber bosses it feels pretty bad. So Yeah, but yeah, so up to mapping, like up to red maps, you can do blood magic, and then after that, switch over. Um, so yeah, that's all I wanted to go over, I think. Okay, yeah. Um, so kind of already said this at the intro, but this is my first Zero to Hero guide, and trying to gear it towards newer players. Uh, don't have to be a new player um, to leave comments, of course, but I really am looking for feedback from the newer players on any points I missed or anything I should change in the future. I'm gonna try and keep this guide updated for as long as possible. League start, or the new league is around the corner, um, and we don't know the patch notes yet, so we don't know what's gonna change. But I'm gonna edit the POB and try and keep this as smooth as possible. I don't know what type of nerfs are coming, if any. Um, so yeah, uh, thanks for tuning in, and just leave any feedback if you have it. I really appreciate it. All right, thanks. See you guys.